G'day and welcome back to the vlog. The vlog, well, it's not a vlog, is it? I just have my little chat to camera, a chat to you people out there, try and discuss a few of the issues of the day, the week, the month, whatever. And this time I want to talk a bit more about drone regulations. Yeah, you knew it was going to happen, didn't you? Anyway, first of all, let's talk about America, USA. What's happening over there? Well, as you know, if you fly a drone in America or a model that weighs more than 250 grams, you've got to register with the FAA. And the idea is that if you register, you're going to be a really nice person, not break the rules. If somehow registering turns you into an all-around good person. But in Seattle, in Washington, I think it is, they have the Space Needle, big tall tower, and someone crashed their drone into it. Oh no! And according to the latest reports, the registration number of the pilot was on the drone, as it's required to be by regulation. So they're going to find out who the pilot was and probably smack his little bottom for being so nasty to crash into the tall structure. Lucky it didn't fall down. Lucky lots of people weren't killed as the Space Needle fell onto the streets below. Incredible, because those plastic drones are really, really dangerous, as we know. Now, it'll be interesting to see what happens here, because the media have been saying, oh, you know, that FAA will probably prosecute them for flying over 400 feet because the Space Needle is quite tall and flying over people. But hang on a minute, I don't think, unless I've got this wrong, unless things have changed, I don't think there's actually a regulation that prohibits you from flying your model or your drone or your unmanned aerial system over 400 feet in the USA. I believe it's merely an advisory. And I don't think you can be prosecuted for breaching an advisory. So how will they prosecute him for flying over 400 feet when there is no regulation that prohibits you? Unless, when you register your drone in the USA, you effectively agree to a whole lot of terms and conditions. One of those terms is not to fly over 400 feet. Another is not to fly over people. So in theory, the FAA could prosecute, they could take a civil case, a breach of contract prosecution, because you have breached the contract that you signed when they gave you your registration number, and they could prosecute you for that. But that would only involve a financial penalty. They couldn't levy, I don't think they could levy a criminal charge or a prison term for doing that. More likely they're going to charge the pilot with reckless endangerment, which is just a big catch-all that means you put someone's personal safety or property in danger by your actions. And did they? Well, I guess if you're standing on top of the Space Needle and someone flies a drone into you and you fall off, you could kill yourself. But I don't think you'd be standing on the Space Needle without some kind of tether. So if this goes before the courts and it's a reckless endangerment charge, I suspect that the judge will look at the magnitude of the offending, the potential risk that was involved, and scale the penalty accordingly. So piece of plastic, a few propellers, whacking into a huge structure. Is there much damage to property, much risk of damage to property? Not really. And is there risk to person? Well, yeah, there's a small risk, but nothing that I think would merit imprisonment or even a really, really big fine. But we'll see. Who knows how the American court system works? Remember, America's one of the few countries in the world where if you shoplift a CD, it's a misdemeanor and you can get a fine. If you download exactly the same music onto your computer through the internet, you can get hit with fines of hundreds of thousands of dollars. How does that work? I don't know. That's how America works. Funny system they got over there, eh? Now, something else that came to my attention is that the ARRL in America, the American Radio Relay League, that's the ham guys, the hammers, they have filed a motion to the FCC. These are the people in America that control the frequencies, the radio spectrum, and said, whoa, you guys wake up, because these these drone flyers are breaking your regulations. They're using frequencies they're not supposed to at power levels that they're not allowed to, and it's going to bring the end of the world to pass in a very short space of time. They have alleged that because there is FPV transmitter video gear on the 1.2 gig band, which actually encompasses about 1.050, 1050 megahertz through to 1300 megahertz, that the FCC should be taking some pretty damn stern action, because some of these frequencies, the lower frequencies in that band, are used by aircraft for navigational aids, and even the frequency that allocated to the ham band, the gear that they tested, I think it was a Lawmate transmitter, it wasn't even on the frequency it was supposed to be on. So they've said to the FCC, you guys need to clamp down on this, because people can buy this gear and it's not going to do anyone any good. But the thing is, they've labelled the drone community as being the offenders, when in reality we know that virtually all the store-bought drones you get are on 5.8 gigs or 2.4. So the 1.2 gig people are generally do-it-yourselfers who buy this stuff for long-range FPV use, and there's not a lot of them around anymore. I mean, okay, a lot of people do fly long-range, but generally speaking, you can get a hell of a long range with legitimate gear, so why are you going to bother with crap stuff? So, but if you're running 1.2, you need to check that out. I will put a link in the description of this video so you can go and have a look and see what's going on there. It is important, and we can't really dismiss it as being unimportant, because the FCC could shut us down pretty quickly if they pulled our frequencies. And they're not going to pull 2.4, they're not going to pull 5.8, but they can make life more difficult, because a lot of people are still using gear that isn't FCC certified, in which case you can get into trouble. Even if it's on the right frequencies, and even if it's working exactly as it should, if it doesn't have the little sticker on it, I don't think it's legal to use. So something to be concerned about. If the FAA are finding it difficult to enforce their regulations, they may call on the FCC to do the job through the back door, and that's not a good thing at all. Now, I'm going to do a video on my RC Model Reviews channel about the FrSky radio systems. Now, I was one of the people, probably the most instrumental person in making FrSky as popular as it was right from the get-go. They sent me a system I reviewed. It was fantastic. It was actually fan-bloody-tastic. Really, really good gear. And I told people, and others bought it and found that I was right. And so it just took off. And now if you look in videos on YouTube, especially mini-quad stuff, everyone's got a Taranis. I mean, it is the transmitted, that everyone has. And it's probably hurt Futaba and JR and Spectrum quite a degree, having FrSky out there. Now, I've got a FrSky Horus. They sent it to me, part of the beta program, but they're not answering my emails anymore, and I lost touch with them. I don't know what's going on. No one's talking to me. So I was going to do a review of that, but I mean, there's probably some hardware updates and things that I haven't received, and I can't get hold of anyone. No one returns my emails. And so I'm going to do and to be totally honest, I'm not that impressed with the Horus. I think I've made that clear in my first looks. It's not that FrSky made a big mistake. They made a big mistake in making the Taranis, because it's such a bloody good radio. Why would you want to spend more money on something that's slightly better, or maybe even not better? To that end, they brought out a new they're bringing out a new transmitter. It's a 7-channel Taranis. It looks pretty good, 100 and something bucks, I think, $100. That's a good move, because I don't know that really flash high-end radios are where the money is anymore. I mean, that's where Futaba and JR have made their money in the past, but for most people these days, we want something small, economical, lightweight, something you can throw in a backpack, something you don't care if you drop it, because it's not a big investment. That's where the market is. Personally, I'd love a much smaller transmitter than the Taranis for backpack drone flying, backpack mini-quad flying. The Taranis has got too many sticks and levers and buttons and dials and bits that poke out and break off. I would love something that was just really smooth, and I could just chuck in a backpack without having to worry about breaking it. That'd be great. In fact, the new form factor, the sort of PlayStation form factor, seems to be taking off in quite a few areas, and I think that's where perhaps FrSky should focus. But this other transmitter does look like a reasonably good idea. It's basically got all the functionality of the OpenTX software, but it only has 7 channels, and it doesn't have sliders and things. So they have sort of kept a distinction between the Taranis and that, but now they've brought out some Hall effect gimbals for the Taranis too, and that's really good, because one of the biggest complaints people had about the Taranis was the sticks are not as good as they could be. And with Hall effect, hey, they could be really, really kick-ass stick units. And if that's the case, again, they're shooting themselves in the foot, because who wants to buy a Horus, radio that's neither a tray radio nor a really good hold it in your hands radio, has crappy ergonomics? Who'd want to buy one of those when for $50 you can just retrofit your Taranis with virtually the same high quality stick units? They need to think this through, FrSky, and they need to contact me, because I can't get hold of the buggers, to get more information. And I'd really like to, because I want to let you people know what's going on. And I can't do that if they won't talk to me. What have I done? Have I offended them by suggesting that the Horus was anything other than absolutely wonderfully, fantastically perfect? I'm sorry, but I just tell you as it is. That's and from what I've got, and I can't tell you anymore because I don't have the production version, not that flash. Sorry, it's not that flash. I'll stick with my Taranis. Thank you very much. Right. This is sort of an interesting vlog, isn't it? But a little bit of everything today. And it's a beautiful summer's day outside. I should be flying, but there's no one here to spot for me at the airfield. And my hands are really bad today. Oh, gee. Very, very shaky today. So it's probably as well I'm stuck in here making videos. And as well, the camera's on a tripod, trust me. So there we go. I've got lots of stuff to do here. I've got some more tidying up to do, but that's my vlog for today. I did have some other stuff to talk about New Zealand regulations, but you don't want to know about our regulations, because the vast majority of my audience is outside New Zealand. So I'll keep that to myself, or maybe just do another video focused on New Zealand. In the meantime, thanks for watching. Now, if you're passing through this part of the world at any stage, then please drop me a line, drop in, say hello. I'll give you a cup of toxic coffee or a cold drink, and you can have a tour of the establishment and even get a selfie in front of the bench. There you go. So thanks for watching. That's another vlog for another whatever indeterminate period of time. And now I'm going to have a drink. Yeah, is it Matt Ogborn would say? Yeah, unscripted, uncut. And now I'm going to rag my nuts off and happy days. Actually, the next vlog I'm going to do, I've decided just before I go, hang on, don't go away yet. Before I go, in my next vlog, I'm going to tell you about some of the really cool YouTube channels that I watch regularly, because there's some really great ones and a lot of you people won't know about them. They're not all about model flying. Some of them are a bit left field, but there's so much crap on YouTube. I'd really like to point out the good stuff, because there are people out there who deserve a much bigger audience than they have. First example, Alex Edit. Alex Edit. Link in the description here. He's an edgy vlogger with good stuff. He's into models. He actually owns Urban Drones in America. It's a drone company. I love his stuff. He's really, really good. Go and have a look at it, but I'll give you a full list in the next vlog. If that's the sort of stuff you want to see, tell me. Say yes in the comments. Say yes, we'd love to see the stuff that you watch, because maybe you share my perspectives and my interests. There you go. Time for me to go to sleep, probably. It's tired. It's hot. Late in the day. Gotta go. Bye.